Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study, the 26th of January, 2023. We'll be dealing with chapters 45 and 46 for our lesson out of Jubilees. I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. It's a lot of information given, and the videos will lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you are receiving on the channel, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. By that we mean the TANAK, which is the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, 35 books of the Old Testament. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, so we're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, psalms, some women's health moment, do a little some current events, need to know information, and we'll open it up for some questions, and then we'll go into Jubilees, chapter 45 and 46. Okay, this moment of silence that you hear me talking about is in reference to the Lord of hosts and our Creator Yahweh and all that they're doing to bring about our prophesied captivity, returning our captivity and sending us home. O Lord, I pray unto the Lord my God, we make our confessions, O Lord, the great and dreadful God, keeping covenant and mercy to them that love thee and to them that keep thy commandments. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us a confusion of face, as it is this day, to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and in all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven us, because of our trespass that we have trespassed against thee. As it is written in the laws of Moses, all this evil has come upon us in the land of our captivity, here in the Americas, Caribbeans, Great Britain, Africa, and beyond. O Lord, according to all thy righteousness, I beseech thee, let thine anger and thy fury be turned away from thy city Jerusalem and thy people and thy holy mountain. O Lord, hear this prayer, cause thy face to shine upon thy sanctuary and thy people for your sake. O Lord, open thine eyes and incline thine ears to hear and behold our condition. O Lord, hear. O Lord, forgive. O Lord, hearken and do, and defer not, for thy own sake. O my Lord, thy people in your land needs you desperately at this hour. Peace be unto you. Okay. We got somebody that's going to read Psalms. Psalms.
Shalom, everyone.
Okay.
Psalms 125. Everybody, Psalms 125. They
Okay.
trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abated forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth, even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous. Oh, excuse me. I skipped the number 2. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people from henceforth, even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. As for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel.
Okay. You got any comments on that?
Yes. So is this the time when they were crossing Jericho River and going into Jerusalem for the Jewish festival? And during that time, was that during this time?
Why you say that?
because in my Bible it references Nehemiah and Nehemiah 6 when it talks about the wall and when they were
Okay.
crossing over and going into Jerusalem for the festival, and they got there were some enemies, and they were thinking that Nehemiah was trying to rebuild Jerusalem by having that wall up, and they were
Right.
saying trying to do that to be king, to make himself king. Is that in
Right.
reference to the same Psalms
Um,
125?
yeah. When I read that, I always assume that was during the time of David, but it could be during that time. But what I was going to reference was uh, verse 2 when it says, let me see, verse 3: For the rod of thy wickedness shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hand unto iniquity. And so if you go to Second Samuel, you see the same thing. It's kind of worded different, but go to Second Samuel chapter 7, and it's just the covenant that he got with David. And I'm gonna pick it up in um 7. It says, so he sent Nathan to go and tell David this right here. It says in chapter 2 Samuel 7 and verse 7: In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, Why build ye me a house of cedar? Now therefore uh, shalt thou say unto my servant David, Thus said the Lord of hosts, I took thee from sheepcote, from following sheep, to be ruler over my people Israel, and I was with thee wheresoever thou wentest, and I have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight, and I have made thee a great name, like the name of the men uh, of the great, like the name of great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and I will plant them that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more as before time. And as since the time that I had commanded judges to be over my people Israel, cause thee to rest from all thy enemies. Also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee a house. And when thy days are fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up a seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He's talking about Solomon. So here go the verse right here that complements 125 and 3. He shall build a house for my name. I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father. He shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. So that's what when you was reading that, that's what came to my mind.
Okay. I could see that, but if you go to Nehemiah 2, and it talks
Okay.
about the confidence in the true Israelites, and them trusting in him, and
Right.
heading up to Mount Zion, uh,
Right.
on the mountain, they trusted him and they felt safe when they were
Right.
going to pray and go to the festival. But it
Right.
could,
This is
yes, sir, it could be.
what Nehemiah what?
No, I said yes, sir. They were going to rejoice. They were going to celebrate. They felt confident. Those walls, when they saw those mountains, they just knew they were surrounded. And
Right.
Yahweh had them. They were confident. They felt trusted. They weren't going to move no more. They were going to be quiet.
Right.
That's where they were going to be, right there.
Okay. I can go for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. You can't. You in a matrix. You got static.
Oh, I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I
You,
didn't
you
say
might
nothing, but thank you.
you,
Shalom.
you might have to go out and come back in.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. We'll go out and come back in.
Right. Okay. We got the women's health.
Shalom. Let's talk about pomegranates. Pomegranates
Okay.
have incredible health benefits. It is a type of fruit that is between the size of an orange and a grapefruit. They feature a white inner flesh that's densely packed with crunchy, juicy, edible seeds called arils, ARILS. While they can be labor intensive to remove from the fruit's inner flesh, their nutritional profile and flavor are well worth the investment. Pomegranates are known for their high antioxidant content. It is also a valued source of protein and are full of vitamins and minerals such as B vitamins, vitamin K, calcium, iron, magnesium, and potassium. Keep in mind that the nutritional information for pomegranate and arrows differs from that of pomegranate juice, which won't provide much fiber or vitamin C. They are rich in antioxidants. Antioxidants are compounds that help protect the cells of your body from damage caused by free radicals. Free radicals are always present in our bodies, but having too much of them can be harmful and contribute to several chronic diseases. And here are some health benefits of pomegranates. It helps keeps your skin youthful, prevents inflammation, helps reduce the formation of kidney stones. It protects against cancer, especially breast cancer. It helps protects against heart disease, eye problems, and also it helps prevent buildup of plaque on your teeth. Okay, overall, pomegranates are low in calories and fat, but high in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and with the potential to support many aspects of health. Pomegranates are worth adding to your healthy eating routine. I'm going to read Deuteronomy 7 through 10. For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and depths that spring out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley and vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of oil, olive, and honey. 9. A land wherein thou shalt eat bread without scarceness, thou shalt not lack anything in it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills thou mayest dig brass. Verse 10. When thou hast eaten and art full, then thou shalt bless the Lord thy God for the good land which he hath given thee. That was Deuteronomy verses 7 through 10, and that was the benefits of pomegranates.
Okay, yeah. So when you was reading that, the thing that come to my mind was the two columns that Solomon built in the temple with Joktan and Boaz, and it tells you in scripture that he had pomegranates all around the top of the columns. That's the first thing I thought about when you was reading it.
Reading about pomegranates.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got pomegranates on the columns. I mean, you know about that, the two columns?
No, I was going to ask you what book that was in.
But I don't know. I don't know where it said. I know it's in
1 Kings.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Shalom. It's in 1 Kings 7 and 18 through 20. You could go like 18, 20.
You said
Can you
First
read it?
Kings?
Uh-huh.
Can somebody read it? I don't like to talk about nothing and don't read it in the scripture. You want me to read it? Somebody gonna read it?
I got to get to it.
Yes. What chapter again?
1 Kings
You say 17?
18, 20.
There's 17. There's Chronicles, I mean. Okay.
So he made the pillars and 2 rows of grants above the network all around to cover the capitals that were on top, and thus he did for the other capital. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, appreciate that. Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, those are when you look at columns at the top of the column, you got caps on them. You know, the square caps on top of the column. That's what they're talking about. And then they have, yeah, pomegranates all around there. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna do a little current event.
21, right when this video came out, with Klaus Schwab talking about the cyber pandemic, saying that this is going to be, I'm going to share with you this video in a second, that this is going to be far worse than anything we've experienced over the last few years. And then what we look at right now with what's happened over the last couple weeks, it to me signals that we're stepping into exactly what they were discussing. Take a look at this video and look at the date here, July 5th, 2021. Well, here's the video.
Attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. We're very expensive.
So in other words, blackout.
If that didn't get your attention, look at this. The title of this Newsweek, it's a cyber pandemic. This just came out yesterday. How attackers outwit all efforts to stop them. It's a cyber pandemic. Talking about last week, if you'll remember, the FAA grounded all planes. All planes. This is the first time it's happened in 20 years, over 20 years. And so we look at what's happening right now. Bank of America CEO, you've heard of what happened at Bank of America yesterday with this Zelle situation in which users were seeing money pulled out of their accounts. It's all over TikTok. All of these different users, people were yelling and screaming at the banks. There's tons of people inside the lobby trying to get their money out of the banks. Pretty scary situation. Well, the Bank of America CEO, where was he? He was in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum meeting. And so during this meeting in Davos, he goes on to say that new ESG rules need to reboot capitalism. He says if you're below it, we shouldn't do business with you. So what they want to do is set a standard in which businesses need to operate in. And if you don't operate inside that standard, they don't want to do business with you, right? So it says, but with this standardization, cross-jurisdiction rules that are part of companies, annual reports, and audited, he continued. Then, frankly, an investment manager, a consumer, society, others can't sit in there and say, here's the line that is acceptable, and if you're either above it or below it. If you're below it, we shouldn't do business with you. And if you're above it, tell us how you're making progress along these important things, which at the end of the day will align capitalism with what society wants from it and gets us going faster. So they determine what is below and above that line, right? And so Bank of America CEO, now Bank of America says the problem with Zelle transactions resolved, right? So you look at what Bank of America recently just said. This is 2 days ago. So during this entire time, while they're in Davos, the CEOs in Davos, they go on to say Bank of America CBDCs are the future of money and payments. Then the ESG policies, then the Zelle banking situation that's happening in Bank of America. Many people say, just Bank of America. It's not a big deal, John. You're being dramatic. You look at what's happening right now, central bank digital currencies, how money could be redesigned, right? This just came out as well 2 days ago. So it's all right in front of us, right? All right in front of our faces. And we look at who their partners are, there's almost no escaping it, right? If you are in America. So even almost anywhere right now, you look at, for example, I'll go to the letter B. Letter B, you look at all the banks. Not all of them, but a lot of them that are titled Bank of America, Bank of China, Bank of Industry, right? Bank of Madeira, all over the world, right? Bangkok Bank, and it goes on. JP Morgan's in here. JP Morgan's the biggest Bank of America, JP Morgan Chase. So you start to look at a lot of these. Citibank is in here. All the big banks are in World Economic Forum, right? And so simply add everything up together. You add it up together today. The debt limit threat looms. Wall Street, Washington have only rough plans. And so here they discuss, what they could potentially do with this is like the 75th time that they've had to, readjust or, mess with the debt limit. And they continue to do this and do this and do this. But this is not going to, I think, end well. I think ultimately what's going to happen is it's going to get pushed to the breaking point and they're going to come up with a new solution. With days to go before the United States bumps up against a technical limit, how much debt it can issue? Wall Street analysts and political prognosticators are warning that a perennial source of partisan brinkmen could finally tip the outright catastrophe in 2023. Now, you look at what's happened right now. This just came out as well 13 hours ago. Fed policymakers call for further rate hikes to beat inflation, so they can continue pushing up rates, pushing up the cost to borrow for consumers, pushing up the cost for consumers to service credit card debt, existing debt. This is going to just continue pushing people into asking for another solution. People aren't going to be able to make ends meet. Look at the cost of eggs. Look at the cost of just basic life now. It is so expensive. Big investors and in banks, economists are using financial models to predict when the United States would borrow money to pay its existing bills or run out of cash. They're assessing what it could mean if the U.S. government is unable to pay some of its bondholders and the country defaults on its debt. And they are gaming out how to both minimize risk and to make the most of opportunities of profit that might be hiding in the chaos. They need to start planning. Potential debt limit breach became more urgent last week when Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told Congress that the United States would hit its borrowing cap on Thursday. At that point, Treasury will begin using extraordinary measures to try and stay under the cap for as long as possible, but those options could be exhausted as soon as June. Congress places a limit on the amount of debt the country can issue, with a simple majority of the House and Senate required to lift it. The cap, currently at $31.4 trillion, needs to be.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? They been to the grocery store lately?
Yeah, prices are going up.
I think the price of eggs is what, $5, $6?
$7.
A dozen of eggs?
7. It's 7.
What's that?
It's like $5.38 here in Walmart,
Okay.
but I'm pretty
In
sure in the
Louisiana?
cities, it's a lot more expensive.
Okay.
And that's just the
Yeah.
low of the eggs, not like the
Right. Yeah, the jumbo.
Right. Yeah, here they having a serious problem at the border with people trying to get eggs over here, trying to smuggle eggs over here and sell them. Okay. We got nothing right here.
Welcome to BWC News. I am Elizabeth. It is understood that, as of now, Japan is still the world's largest holder of U.S. debt, while the second ranking is China. With global inflation continuing to be high in the past year, the world's major central banks continue to raise interest rates, and the recent U.S. debt market is gradually cooling down. Data show that in the first 10 months of 2022, European countries have reduced their holdings of U.S. debt by a total of $126.34 billion, while Asia has reduced its holdings of U.S. debt by as much as $521.38 billion. Among them, China has sold a total of $171.2 billion of U.S. debt, while Japan has also sold a total of 2,400
Yeah, everybody reading the tea leaves. They're trying to get out of America. They're trying to get away from American dollar.
U.S. debt. Some industry analysts point out that the global financial landscape is being reshaped in the past year. The global credibility of U.S. dollar assets is also declining. The U.S. debt in the last year by the central banks to abandon also means that the credit of the United States is going down. During this period, the U.S. has been unusually active in the international arena, and Blinken's visit to China has become the focus of attention. It is reported that Blinken will visit China on February 5th to 6th, and the Russian media has reminded China that Blinken will ask China to reduce its support for Russia during his visit to China to avoid intensifying the conflict between China and the U.S., and use the different positions of China and Russia to separate the two countries. The U.S. is currently unable to confront both China and Russia, and Blinken's plan will not succeed. Whether the Russian media's reminder is correct or not, China will not have any illusions about the U.S. for a long time, and we have been preparing for the possible outbreak of a crisis between the two countries. Now the U.S. debt ceiling immediately exceeds $31.48 trillion. The U.S. Treasury has only $400 billion in cash left, and U.S. Treasury Secretary Yellen has taken the initiative to talk with the Chinese top brass, because now China has been selling U.S. debt, which makes Yellen more and more anxious. Meanwhile, the U.S. is lobbying around the world, calling on people not to dump U.S. debt, with Yellen warning that, if this happens, the cost of borrowing for the U.S. government as well as citizens will increase, leading to a recession in the U.S. economy and possibly triggering a global financial crisis. According to data released by the U.S. Treasury Department, as of November 2022, the largest holders of U.S. debt remain Japan and China. Among them, Japan holds $1.0822 trillion in U.S. treasuries, selling $14.6 billion in August alone. China has reduced its holdings of U.S. treasuries for 3 consecutive months, with the cumulative size of the sale reaching $15.7 billion, reducing its holdings by $7.8 billion to $87 billion in the month, with the size of the position at a new low since June 2010. So, the U.S. is anxious and the Treasury Secretary is actively preparing a visit to China, is to lobby China not to abandon U.S. debt, and moreover hope that China can continue to buy. In fact, the U.S. side has always wanted China to increase its holdings of U.S. debt. Every negotiation will mention the relevant issues. Yellen, this dialogue with the Chinese side is also mainly to talk about this issue, but the U.S. side is only a request, but not willing to pay the actual action. The U.S. side is now not qualified to talk to China. The U.S. side needs to lift the sanctions on the Chinese side of the chip sector and other industries before it is possible to discuss with China the issue of reducing U.S. debt. But because the Chinese side of the sale of U.S. debt has also caused discontent, the U.S. side began to retaliate against China in various areas. On the 24th, the U.S. Special Envoy to Iran, Marley, publicly stated that, in view of Iran is ignoring the Iranian nuclear agreement, the United States is prepared to increase the oil sanctions on the country. While China has become an illegal exporter of Iranian oil, the U.S. side, the U.S. will increase pressure on the Chinese side so as to continue to prevent the Chinese side from importing Iranian oil. At the same time, he also stressed that Iran's oil exports have continued to increase in recent months, which is an open provocation to the U.S. side, and more importantly, most of the oil is exported to China, so the U.S. side must take measures to stop Iranian oil exports, including other countries besides China. Now the U.S. side always wants to demand other countries with its own customized so-called order, which is obviously intended to suppress China. If the UN Security Council.
Okay, so they looking for China to give them a break. So what you think? You think China gonna give America a break?
What would be the incentive?
There ain't no incentive.
Right.
It's doomsday. That's what it is. The Chinese been working for the last. I mean, they forgot they dropped those 2 bombs on the Asian people back in the day. You think them people forgot about that? That's one thing right there. So no, that's what they've been doing the whole time, to bring America to its knees. So they got them where they want them. You think they're gonna help them stand back up? They've been working tirelessly trying to bring this place down.
I think listening to that though, it seems like America continues to try to push its weight around and be manipulative to everybody else when they have nothing to back that up.
Right, and it ain't working because people behind the scenes already got a problem with it because of just that. They don't know how to do things no other way but to bully their way around and threaten people and put sanctions on them.
May I ask a question? What's interesting to me as well is with this kind of issue going on the left side, on the right side, what does Ukraine have to do with all of this? Because we keep hearing about the billions of dollars America is giving to Ukraine, but then we're also hearing we ain't got no money and we're borrowing. So what's that about?
Well, you got to go back, like I was saying, to Jacob and Esau. The Bible tells you that when Jacob was born, Esau came out first. There were twins in there. Esau came out first, and Jacob grabbed a hold of his heel. And so the prophecy on that is that if one son ain't ruling, if Jacob not ruling, Esau ruling. And if Esau ruling, Jacob is coming right behind him. That's what him grabbing onto his heel. So all this stuff I'm telling you about, the reason why you see me give you this information on these bankers and all this stuff, Esau is ruling right now. The Bible says it's the woman riding upon the four beasts, but it's a woman riding it. It's a woman controlling the four beasts, and she decked in red. That's Esau. And that's what all the so-called minor prophets in the Bible is talking about. But they got our train of thought where we try to deal with the New Testament and we don't see none of that. But Malachi, Zephaniah, Zechariah, all talking about Esau. And so I showed you, I don't know if you seen those classes, but it's 143 BC is when Jacob left, and they fled, and the 10 tribes fled into Africa, right? The remainder of the Israelites fled into Africa and ended up on the West Coast, but it was in 143 BC at the end of the Greek kingdom, third beast. So let's look at that right quick. So, this is one of those topics that you gotta search it out, because people can't handle it. They thinking that was Israel in the land in 70 AD, but that was Esau in the land. He stole the land back in 143 BC when the Israelites ran out. He stole it. That's who was in the land all during the time of the four beasts. Is Esau. So let's look at it. I'm in the book of Daniel right quick.
Okay, sir.
We're gonna get to Ukraine. Let's look at it.
Okay.
Let me get Daniel. Yeah, I'm trying. Okay, I got Daniel. So you go to Daniel chapter 25. Daniel chapter 8. My bad. Daniel chapter 8 is about the ram and the he-goat. And when you understand that Daniel gave us the understanding of the four beasts, the first one was the Medes and Persians, and the second one was the first one was Babylon, the second one was Medes and Persians, and then the third one was the Greeks, and the four beasts is the Romans. So this dream right there that Daniel having, Daniel in captivity in Babylon in the first beast. So he having a dream about futuristic stuff that's coming. So the ram that he saw is the Medes and Persians, and the he-goat is the Greeks. So he's getting an understanding of what's getting ready to come, prophesying. The Lord showing them futuristic events. So we're gonna pick it up in Daniel 19, Daniel chapter 8, verse 19. I'll start at verse 18. It said, now, as he was speaking with me, this Gabriel coming to Daniel, as he was speaking with me, a deep sleep fell on my, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said unto me, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed, the end shall be. This is not the end of the world. It's the end of Israel as a nation. This is what the dream is about in the vision. So 20, the ram which I saw having the two horns are the kings of the Medes and Persians. That's the second beast. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. So that's Alexandria. It's the third beast. The first king is Alexandria. Then 22. Now that being broken, 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king. Now that being broken, Alexandria died, right? Whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of that nation, but not in his own power. So the Greek kingdom after Alexandria died was divided up into his four generals, four different parts. So it's the Greek kingdom, still the third beast, but it was divided into four parts. And then it says 23, in the end and in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to a full, a king of fierce countenance, understanding dark sentences shall stand up. So at the end of the Greek kingdom, a king of fierce countenance is going to stand up. 24. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully. He shall prosper, practice, and he shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So my question is, who the holy people?
That would be us.
Israelites.
Right. There you go, verse 24, telling you at the end of the Greek kingdom, the Israelites got destroyed. And this king of fierce countenance is Antioch Epiphanes. So if you want to go, I got videos on that, but you go to Second Maccabees and Apocrypha. If you had Apocrypha books, go to Second Maccabees, First Maccabees, and read it. It's going to give you the whole layout. It's all right there. What happened? When you understand how it works, the angel, he sent an angel, and the prophet have a vision. Then the angel comes, give him the understanding of the vision. Then it come to pass. It don't never come to pass. And all we see is right here, Daniel chapter 8, the vision 1 through 15, and then 16 or 15 through 25 is the vision, but it don't come to pass. So let me read it right quick. The first part of it, out of the Apocrypha book. So it says in the Apocrypha book, it's in the Apocrypha book, like I said, First Maccabees, start at chapter 1. So I'm gonna read the first part of it, show you what I'm talking about. So it says, First Maccabees, right here. First Maccabees, it came to pass. That's how it started. So this is where it came to pass, but it's way over here in the Apocrypha books. They took it out. It says, it came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, son of Philip, had came from the land of Checham, that he utterly defeated Darius. Darius was last king of the Medes and Persia. This tie in the dangerous vision and his interpretation. And the king of Medes and Persia, that he reigned in his stead, and he had before reigned over Greece. So this Antioch Epiphanes. So this king that came, he the one destroyed the Israelites. And the Israelites left at the end of the third beast and fled. And Esau stole the land at that point. And that's in Obadiah. Let me read a little bit of that. I'm kind of stretching this out. I'm gonna get it on out the way. So you go to Obadiah right quick. So some of y'all might not never heard of this, but so I'm in Obadiah, the book of Obadiah. It's one of the minor prophets. I was telling you, all the minor prophets is talking about what I'm telling you about Esau. But you can't see that if you focus on trying to get to the New Testament. Okay, so I'm in Obadiah, and I have to say but one chapter in the book of Obadiah. Let me see if I can find it. It's hiding from me. Okay, I got it. So Obadiah, chapter starting at verse 5. In Obadiah it says, you got it?
Yes.
It says, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? If grape gatherers came unto thee, would they not have some grapes? So you know what the grapes are. Israel, the men of Israel is the grapes. There's a vineyard. So it says, how are the things of Esau? See that? Esau, sought out. How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the borders. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee, and they that eat bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding him. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? So these wise men of Edom is the same people today, these bankers, Illuminati bankers. So anyway, same ones killed JFK, the same ones killed Caesar, Julius Caesar. Then so verse 8 says, 9 says, the mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed to the end, that everyone that of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Then here goes what happened right here, tied to Daniel chapter verse 25. It says, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee. Thou shalt be cut off forever in the day. This when it happened right here during the time of Antioch Epiphanes. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers carried away captive his forces, foreigners entered into the gates, Greeks entered into the gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, 12 lots, by the name of the 12 tribes. Even thou was one of them. But thou should not have looked on thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither should they have spoken proudly in the day of their distress. Thou should not have entered into the gates of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou should not have looked upon their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. Neither should thou have stood in the crosshairs to cut off those that did escape, and neither should thou have delivered up those that did remain in the day of their distress. All this happened in First Maccabees. So the Most High, when he says those that did escape, that's a Hebrew idiom, just like licking up the dust. The serpent gonna lick up the dust. It's like a slang. It's a Hebrew idiom. So he always leave a remnant. Every time the Israelites went into captivity over 13 different captivities, I think this is the 14th captivity we're in now. So every time they go into captivity, he always left a remnant in the land of Israel. So wherever they was at, they look back and they'll see that he had mercy on them because he had a remnant there. Well, Esau, his brother, Esau was raised by Abraham just like Jacob. So he knew that. So when the opportunity came, he killed the remnant. That's why he's gonna do what he's gonna do to Esau when he come back. But Esau killed the remnant, he left there. And then took the land, occupied the land. So that's Esau in the land. Doing the so-called, they talking about the New Testament and the 70 AD. He was ran out. Esau was ran out in 70 AD. So let's look at that right quick. Then I'm gonna get back where I was at. So in Daniel, it tells you when Esau was ran out. I mean Daniel chapter 11. You might want to write these verses down so you can connect these dots. So Daniel chapter 11, verse 14. I'm gonna start at verse 13. For the king of the north shall return and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former, and shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and with much riches. Then 14. And in those times, all this already came to pass. But they trying to make you think it ain't. But 14 says, and in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south. The king of the south is one of those generals, Ptolemy, that Alexander divided his kingdom up. The king of the south, king of the north, one of them is Ptolemy. And Ptolemy is the 29th dynasty, the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt. So all this already happened. So he says, verse 14, and in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south, also the robbers of our people, and they shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall. They fell in 70 AD. And the vision is Herod built a temple. The Edomites built a temple. That temple ain't had nothing to do with the Lord of hosts and heaven. Edomites built it. Herod. So that temple ain't where they talking about JC came, ain't got nothing to do with Yahweh. Edomites built it. Okay, so you have to understand that. So when you get on down to where they was at before they came into the land of Israel, occupied the land of Israel, Ukraine. That's their homeland. Their homeland is from Ukraine. So now there's a prophecy that the Most High said he's gonna come back. He's gonna bring them back to the land of Israel because the only way to cleanse the land before we go back, the culprit that killed the shedded blood there, he got to shed their blood. So they know this prophecy, they see this prophecy coming to pass. Now they trying to run back to their homeland. So being that they control everything, the money and all that, they trying to clear out that area because that's where they originally came from. Ukrainians. That's why they waving that flag so much. And you got to also remember that Esau had 13 boys too, sons. 12 sons. He had 12 sons, just like Jacob had 12 sons. Then Ishmael had 12 sons, just like Jacob did. So when you start talking about Esau or Edom, they spread all over the place. It's 12 different nations that came from Esau, just like the 12 different nations came from Jacob. And that's what that's all about. That's their original homeland, and they're trying to retain it because they see the events in the world, how they transforming, and how they going toward the prophesied events that the Lord of hosts already had wrote down and prophesied, because they have our original books. They meet out the stuff here and there, we try to keep us throwed off, but they have the books, and they looking at the prophecies and they unfolding in front of their face. So they trying to get out of the land of Israel. Just Google that. They leaving Israel like flies. They're trying to get out of there because they see what's going to happen. But they want to go back to their original homeland, which is over there in Ukraine, that area. Just like when they wanted, they told the let's look at it right quick. They told the Most High in Malachi. This is another minor prophet. They told the Most High, Lord of hosts, in Malachi. Let's read it right quick. Malachi. It says the last book of the Old Testament. Verse chapter 1 through 5 says the burden of this Esau in the land in 70 AD. So it says the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein that thou loved us was not Esau. See that? Jacob's brother, says the Lord. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau. And I laid his mountains and his heritage to waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, this is what he told the Most High, Lord of hosts this. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desert places. Thus said the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call on the border of wickedness, the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever. So we know it ain't but one place that's desolate. That's in Daniel, that's in Israel. So he just told him, you're going to run us out of here, but we're going to come back. Well, they came back in 70 AD. I mean, 1948, they came back. Those 2 and 3, those World War I, World War II, and a couple of wars before that, they used them wars to manipulate everything behind the scenes because they controlling the money. And then they came back through the Balfour Agreement. They came back to the land of Israel in 1948. They returned. So Moses told them, you're going to come back, but I'm going to tear it down. I'm going to destroy you because you got to cleanse the land. You got to use the carpets that shed the blood of his people back in 143 BC. So he got to shed their blood. That's the only way to cleanse the land. And so they see all that unfolding. So now they're trying to go back to their homeland where they came from, Ukraine. But who knows that? Everybody else fumbling with it. Okay. So that answers your question.
Yes, there's a lot to think about.
Yeah. Just like I say, look at them verses. It's right there in the scriptures. It's just that so many people is focusing in on New Testament. They can't connect the dots on that because if you're trying to deal with the New Testament, you're gonna be forever falling backwards in the dark because it ain't got nothing to do with us.
Right. So they trying to have you to deal with the New Testament by saying, yes, there is grain in Poland. Yes, there is lithium.
Right.
That's why
Exactly.
they giving those equipment, the soldiers and all of
Right.
that. They want,
Right.
but that's the subsurface, like you say, sir. That's for everyone to see. But what's going on behind the scenes and
Right.
the
Exactly.
truth,
Exactly.
and
And they did. Go ahead.
yeah, and the grain for the food, or they trying to
Right.
make think that they trying to they you won't get your food, you won't get your lithium for this thing Elon Musk is doing, which is all
Right.
witchcraft technology, that stuff. That's they want everybody to think that, but like you said, the truth is what's going on behind the scenes.
Right. Exactly. And they did the same thing. They ain't nothing new under the sun. They did the same thing with when they got the land in 1948. They was behind all them people and all that ruckus, the war and all the people that died was behind them getting the land and them maintaining obtaining the land of Israel.
Right, because in that, isn't it said, sir, that that's the land that's going to flourish with the food, and
Right.
all the ones
Exactly.
are drying up is not going to have any
Right.
anything. So that's why they want to have a take in it, so that they would
Right. Right. They got the original scriptures. They know exactly where everything is. They got us throwed off. We're talking about got hiring Negroes. Talk about America. I mean Israel over here in America and all that and that's all. That's them old tricks. Esau been up doing that kind of stuff. Got you. He over here doing something with his right hand, but he shaking his left hand. Everybody looking at his left hand. And he cutting the bottom off from under you with his right hand. But they ain't figured that out yet. Okay. So anyway, this right here I thought was pretty interesting. This some need to know information right here. Let me play it.
Greenfield, the UN ambassador from the United States, will be visiting Africa, Ghana, Mozambique, and Kenya, to be exact, to help strengthen the relationship between Africa and the United States. And as I speak, Secretary Treasurer Janet Yellen is over there in Zambia and South Africa to, you guessed it, strengthen the relationship between the United States and Africa. As you guys may or may not know, President Joe Biden met with 49 leaders from Africa in December to tell them you all belong at the table too, right? And so he, being Joe Biden, will go visit Sub-Saharan Africa this year. He will actually be the first president within 10 years to do that. And of course, y'all know he's going over there to strengthen the relationship between Africa and the United States. And the United States also recognizes that China and Russia they're gaining a stronghold in Africa, right? So of course, the United States does not want to be left out of that, but they're masking it under the premise of, well, we're trying to strengthen the relationship and really go in there and help Africa. Of course, y'all know Joe Biden gave Africa a bunch of money not too long ago but anyway, recently it was discovered in Democratic Republic of Congo that there's a very interesting material that was found there. Check it out. So, see my best. Ça va. Ok. Très bien. Rocha, Tia. Like iPhones and things like that, right? To keep them going. And so now that this rock has been discovered, you know that everybody and their mama is gonna be over there trying to get a hold of it and get it from out there in Congo and a lot of people around Africa. And everybody said, "Oh, it's vibranium." Of course, you guys know vibranium is not real per se. It comes from that of the Black Panther movie in Wakanda. That's the coveted material that the world is trying to get their hands on. And so, if indeed that is now a newly discovered thing there in Congo, watch out. They are in trouble because we know the United States means nothing in Africa any good at all. Nothing. They don't mean Africa any good. We know what they have done. They, the United States in Africa, destabilizing governments and all kind of things in the name of, it was human rights, things going on over there with the people like Muammar Gaddafi. Y'all know what the Obama administration did to him. We know.
Okay, you anybody heard anything about that? They found vibranium in the Congo. So you know what? Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say, yeah, I had heard that, but so which one is true? The movie or that depiction of the movie?
That's the point right there. They all of a sudden they had this Black Panther movie. They put all this money out on about this so-called future. Unrealistic. This is supposed to be in sci-fi. This material called vibranium, and now all of a sudden now they found it. The actual vibranium in Africa.
In Africa.
Right there, so like I say, go watch the movie though. You see what vibranium is, Black Panther and 1 and 2. So this vibranium set Wakanda in the movie far ahead of everybody else in the world because they had access, because they had it was only found accessible in Wakanda. Now they got in the Congo.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but the spirit, those demon spirits, they have to tell things, and so it is exploited. So
Right,
things that are look like they're just coming to fruition has been in
right,
old, has been
right,
here. When we go
right,
back, look at any old movie, and you can look at a 1930 movie, the lady had a cell phone walking down the street. It has always
right,
been here
Right.
on the scene of how they do things, like you say, behind the scenes. You know, they're
right,
doing other things, and they let this out when they want to let it out,
right,
you know, because those things have been, now they know, they rush into it, you know, trying to get it because they know we know it, you know it's there, and they're trying to get it.
right, exactly. Yeah, back to what you talking about in the movies. Look at the Flintstones. Everything in the Flintstones, you know, that was look what we doing. That's what we at now. They, they had they had beam. They was beaming. I'm not beaming people up, but they had the little flying cars. They had the cell phones. All that on Flintstones.
You talking about the Jetsons?
I mean the Jetsons. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
Jetsons. My
yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah, because that spirit have to have it. And you know, like he taught us about the, you know, those demons, the musical one, they
right,
go through the music, and then you got the tech one that go through all this technology when you
right,
throw your in front of that television. And you know,
right,
back when you looked at Baby Bop, why was that kids looking at a young lady dressed like that? And all the innuendo things and cartoons that are of the that particular um angel that is of the you know, demonic spirit there, uh
right,
that sexual one, you know, and all of those innuendo things and cartoon for the kids.
right. Oh yeah, exactly. There you go. And it don't add up when and if you zero in on it, you can see exactly what it is because of some of the stuff they have in the cartoons. It don't make no sense. It can only serve one purpose, and that's it's evil, the satanic. Don't serve no other purpose.
Would you also say, not to get us too far, but I just want to ask about this because I've always been fascinated about it, about this whole fascination they have with end times, with the people coming back to life, the Walking Dead and all of that, and that always brings it back to the dry bones that's gonna come back to life, and all of that significance. Do you think that ties into them trying to say that when people start seeing that really is evil and not the Most High bringing back His people?
Yeah, well, I was talking with somebody this morning about that. So when you understand that who we are and what's been prophesied on us, and what they done to us, like for instance, I know you probably have seen it. They always in these sci-fi movies, they got these so-called uh, people from outer space that came here, and they saying that people came here and they did something to the ape and made a human that was they transformed the ape and made him into a creature in between a man and an ape that was intelligent. And what they was doing, they came to this planet from another solar system to get the minerals out of the ground, but they needed a source, a slave labor to
To
get them
do
out.
it. Hmm.
So when you look at that, they talk about us. They the white man. They went and got us, made us slaves. They did so that they're talking about us, just like what you just said. The zombies. We the ones walking around don't know where the hell we from. We the zombies. We throwed off. We don't know nothing. Everything 95% of the black folks doing what they told them. What was introduced to them from the time they was born till they got 18 years old. The system they got in place, the school system. All you know is what, if you don't think outside the box, all you know is what they gave you. You know what I'm saying? Everything they gave you is the only thing you can associate to. Once you show somebody that the New Testament ain't real, and they see it, they don't want, 9 times out of 10 they don't want to deal with it because they don't have nothing else. They got to start all the way over again from scratch. They got to go back to the Old Testament and find out what's really going on. So they're afraid of that. They can't deal with that. They don't have nothing else. And so that's why they don't want to deal with it. So all this stuff they done gave us, we programmed. We the zombies. We the mummies walking around looking crazy. And they passing it on the screen in our faces. Ain't that something? We just started finding out. We just started to find out, like I said, about the the transatlantic slave trade. We thinking that our history as a race of people started on slave ship. Yeah, on the slave ship. But come to find out, we migrated from the land of Israel, the Bible.
And I think that it has a lot to do with them. All of a sudden, they want to specifically ban Black or African American studies or anything related to Black history. They demonizing all of that.
Right. And the reason being is because all this information coming out on what they done. They don't want nobody to know about it. Like example is they come to find out all these different recreational lakes and parks they got all over the place. It's Black cities that they covered over.
They covered with water. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all this stuff coming out, and then even their kids seeing how treacherous they was, because the kids nowadays ain't like they were. They growing up in and out of each other's household and running together and all that, and they can't believe that was done to us.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to suppress it.
The what they say, the hole you dig for somebody, you fall in it too, because their children learn the same thing we learn.
Exactly. A critical race theory, what they call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had the Q&A, question and comments. Anybody got any questions or comments or dialogue about something they heard on Prophets of Awakening while they were studying? They want to talk about it.
I wanted to go back, but Tasha was saying when y'all comes back and the dry bones rise, because she was mentioning something about the zombies, but like the Walking Dead. But isn't that just like all the medication that people are taking and during the pandemic, and when this thing there are all the plagues that's coming too, and a part of these COVID is plagues, and these people have all of this medication in them, walking around, like you say, just walking around aimlessly, not knowing. And because when he comes, like, is that trumpet going to sound? When people say nobody know when he comes, that's when he's coming. Everybody's going to have to know his name and call his name, and when that trumpet sounds, and then that's when it's going to occur.
Right. Exactly.
Correct, sir.
Right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. But like I said, with the flood, a lot of people don't address why the flood came. The flood came because of what those fallen angels had done. They had came and brought wickedness over the whole earth. Only righteous thing was left on the planet was Noah. So he brought the waters to do away with all that. That's the same reason he coming back this time. Evil has spread itself all over the whole planet. So that's why you got to come back. Just to cleanse yourself of that. But if you really want to deal with that zombie thing, watch the movie World War Z. I ain't gonna tell you about it. Just start watching with a Hebrew mindset.
What's the name of it again, sir?
World War Z with Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
It's called World War Z. It came out probably, I think, on the early part of 2002, somewhere up in there, 2003. Yeah. Anybody got any questions? Anything else on Q&A? Okay. Everybody good?
Good.
I have a question.
What you got?
Well, I noticed that the mountain of gold was found in the Congo, and now they say the
Right.
vibranium was also found in the Congo. Why the Congo?
Well, a lot of people trying to say that they saying the Congo is the land of Jerusalem and Israel. They're saying the Congo is the land that the Lord of hosts came and got the Israelites out of Egypt and brought them to the Congo. Say the Congo is where Jerusalem is. Because when they going back and looking at all of what he was told them that was there, he said it was metals, precious metals, and all that in the hills, and he talked about all these different animals that was there, and so the Congo got all that. So that's what they're saying. That's one of the narratives that's out there. I think it's TOTW Ministries, and then Big Judas is another one I heard talking about it.
So is that the excuse me, is that the gold that they're talking about that's supposed to be found in the Euphrates River? Is that the mountain of gold?
Nah, no.
That's a separate thing.
That's separate. That's something else. But what it is, like I said, when you understand that Esau got everything to lose for us to connect all these dots. So he always using carpets, he bring in paid off carpets to bring out some old crazy understanding to throw people off when he see us coming together. Like a prime example is that 12 tribe chart. You know, how in the hell did Jacob had 4 wives? They was all African of African descent. You know, they was women of color, and now you got this 12 tribe chart. He dark skin, he a man of color with woolly hair, and his 4 wives was women of color with woolly hair. How you get it? How you get an Indian out of there? Now you get a Hawaiian out of there. That's all. All that's been concocted by these Edomites using Negroes to come in as you know flunkies and fund them to come up with all this stuff to try to throw us off. Yeah.
So may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Um, so they always want to say that the Middle East is they try to always separate it out like it's the people of Arabian descent or
Right.
the people that look like them, that's their land, and that's who those people are, and they separate it off of the continent of Africa, but that's still really part of Africa. So when you said that that when we're talking and stuff, we're talking about the people fleeing back into Africa, they're just going to different parts of that same continent. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
Yeah, that's correct. But the thing about it, when you understand prophecy, it's lining right up. Like I said, Jeremiah 29:14 tells you in the last days, he told us he's gonna return us back to the place from which we were taken from. So when they left out the land of Canaan, land of Israel, when they went to Egypt. So that's where he brought them back to. But we was taken from the west coast of Africa. That's where we're going back to. And so when you understand that, let's look at Zephaniah right quick. This is another prophecy. Jeremiah 29:14 is the one I just told you about, but this is another piece to the puzzle. You go to Zephaniah. Okay? Let me get it. In a minute. Give me a minute. It's hiding from me. Zephaniah, I always thought it was right behind Zechariah, but let me see.
Chapter 6 or 7?
No, it's chapter 3. I think. Let me see. I thought it was Zephaniah was right behind.
Zephaniah 3 and 10.
It's right behind Malachi. Where is it? Oh, here you go.
Right
I got it.
behind Habakkuk,
We
yeah.
started 3 and 9. Starting at 3 and 9. It's two events right here on the same right here, 9 and 10 and 11. It says, for then will I turn to the people a pure language. That ain't happened yet. That's another reason for our confusion. Say, then will I turn to the people a pure language, and they may call upon the name of the Lord. to serve him with one consent. So the pure language is Hebrew. That's what was at the Tower of Babel. That's what the angels brought down, was the Hebrew language. And that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. That was taken away from us. That's what brought about that's where a lot of confusion coming from. So he's gonna return that. So everything you're looking at in the Old Testament, they talking to him, they're dealing with him, his name in Hebrew. So he got to return that language to us. Then he says, look what it says. For then will I turn to the people of pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord. See that? Because his name in Hebrew. So he got to return that. Then when we call on him like our forefathers did, he gonna come. So then it says, and to serve him with one consent. Then 10, from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, my supplements, even the daughter of my dispersed shall bring my offering. So from beyond the river of Ethiopia, west coast of Africa. We got to come from, we got to leave from here first, go back to where they take us from. Then he called us from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. That's where we was at before they came and got us.
So before you go, tell us what the name is.
I say Michael because we don't know it. We don't know what it
Right,
is.
because I was gonna ask that question. Yeah.
Right. He got to return us to the language.
Right. Because that's what has been confusing me or stumbling. And when I'm talking about when I'm praying and stuff, like, whose name am I saying? Now I'm saying Michael, but
or Lord. I mean, it's long as you know what's going on, you're in the dark. That's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we can't jump the gun on what the Most High doing. It's his thing. That's just like trying to hit the Powerball, saying you're gonna get the $800 million that they got, and you're gonna get all the Israelites back to the land of Israel. Well, that ain't gonna happen because he ain't gonna be glorified in that.
So his name ain't been revealed then.
Right. So that's all he told you what he gonna do. So but let's read Ezekiel 37, what was mentioned a minute ago. Let's look at that right quick, because this right here profound. He says right here, and this is what the people fumbling with. Starting at verse 10, he says, I start at 9. Ezekiel 37 to 9. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say unto the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath came into them, and they lived, and they stood upon their feet, exceedingly great army. Just the whole house of Israel, all our forefathers, right? 11. Then he said unto me, son of man, can these bones live? No, he said, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say our bones are dried, and our hope is lost, and we are cut off from our parts. 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, O my people. Here we go, right here. See, they fumbling with this, but look what he said. Behold, O my people, I will open up your graves, cause you to come up out of your graves, and I will bring you into the land of Israel. So let's read it the right way. He says, 12. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, thus says the Lord God, behold, O my people, I will open up your sepulchres. That's what was there. Sepulchres, and cause you to come up out of your sepulchres and bring you into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord when I have opened up your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves. And I will put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall you know that I, the Lord, have spoken it, performed it, saith the Lord. So you can't talk about there's no symbology. He just told you he's gonna bring you out of your graves.
Right. And that's what I was saying earlier about they're trying to prepare people and say when you see that it's some kind of demonic thing, that these people are evil and to try to kill them, but they're not gonna die.
Right.
But they're trying to imply that when they see that's going to be some kind of evilness, and so that they should do everything they can to try to kill it, but they're not. Those people are not going to die.
Right, exactly. Right. That's over in Joel chapter 3. The whole, but like I say, you reading it, but you ain't connecting. You can't connect no dots because you're not really understanding what you read. So Joel telling you point blank what happened. Just go to Joel. He's telling you what they're gonna be doing, and you can't kill them. So they didn't concocted this over in the New Testament, talking about the angel from the bottomless pit came and opened up the bottomless pit, all that garbage. But he actually, in Ezekiel, what I just read, he said he promised our forefathers. They already knew that before they passed, that they was going to get resurrected. They didn't need nobody to die for them on the cross to get resurrected. They already knew he promised them they was going to be resurrected. Yeah, look at I'm gonna read one chapter out of Jubilee, but look at Daniel 12 right quick. Then I go read out of Jubilee. Daniel chapter 12, same thing. Okay, you go to Daniel 12. This is Michael. So like I said, you can't get out of it. Once the light turned on, you can't get out of it. So chapter 12 of Daniel, verse 1. At that time, what we just read, Ezekiel. At that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even at that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. Every one that shall be found written in the book. That's the book in Daniel chapter 10. The book of the scripture of truth. Verse 2, 12 and 2. And many, this is Ezekiel 37, many that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Some the everlasting life, some the everlasting shame and contempt. And they that be wise, shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they shall turn many to righteousness as the stars of heaven. So like I say, you got so-called mega pastors and rabbis and everybody else. They go in all different type of directions with these understandings, but it's talking about Ezekiel 37. You can't get around it.
And that's not everybody. That's only the children of Israel that's going to rise. That's not everybody.
Exactly. And then the book of Jasher tell you when they left, Joseph told them, when you leave Egypt, you said the Lord of hosts is coming. Is when he leave, go dig my bones up and take them with you. But what they don't tell you, that they had all their forefathers with them. They had their bones. These the bones he talking about in Ezekiel 37. But they didn't took the book of Jasher out. So you don't know that. So the whole time, them 40 years, they in the wilderness, walking around in the wilderness, they got all these sepulchres with them.
Right.
They bones, their forefathers.
Right. And they don't really tell you why they have that when they telling the story, but you know that they did carry those bones with them, but you never really understood why.
Exactly. And then when they set up at Shiloh and Joshua sent them out by their lots, they buried their fathers in their lot where they got once they got their lot. Waiting for the Most High to resurrect them. They already knew that.
Can I ask one more question? I don't want to prolong this, but I have another question. When in chapter 12, Daniel chapter 12, it says some will rise to everlasting life and some to everlasting shame. So that means that some of is it referring to the Israelites and the Hebrews that still won't accept Michael, and they're still believing in what they were told? Is that who they're talking about?
Well, when you go back to Jeremiah 24, he told Jeremiah to look and ask him what he saw. And Jeremiah said he see two baskets of figs. So fig tree is always associated with Israelites and grapes. So he said he saw two baskets of figs. That's Israelites. So he said one basket, good, very good, and the other basket, wicked, very wicked, vile. Same thing right there. All of them gonna be raised up, but some to righteousness and some to unrighteousness. See what I'm saying? So the way it's almost like I don't know if you ever heard that phrase, but same way you went down, that same way you're gonna be raised up. If you was wicked as hell when you went down, you're gonna be wicked as hell when you raise up. That's what they're saying.
I have a question.
Okay.
What the people in the Congo, what is their belief? Do they believe and pray to Yahweh and believe in Michael, or no?
No, they've been colonizing like we was. They took Christianity and colonize the whole world, especially us as Israelites. You think the African American throwed off on the New Testament? They really got them Africans snowed in on the New Testament. They doing the most. So when you understand who we are, we Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. We was the head. So we the ones that got scattered. The 10 tribes had already served their punishment in Assyria. And they came out from Assyria into Africa. But the head, which is Judah, Benjamin, Levi, was brought over here. And we the ones received that was smitten. And so we got to come back first. He's going to raise up Judah first. Judah and the children of Jerusalem first. Then we go back to the 10 tribes.
Because
they're not going to really be able to do nothing until you wake us up.
We're the ones that's going to bring the good news back to them.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Judah's the head. So and so once you understand it, you go back and look at all the incidents that happened when they was at the well, when they threw Joseph in the well. Well, they had intentions on killing Joseph, right?
Right.
Who stopped him?
One of his brothers, right?
Judah stopped him.
Judah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Then when they went to Egypt and found out who Joseph was, then Joseph punished him. And he told him, I'm gonna keep Benjamin.
The youngest.
Yeah. But see, people don't understand about that is Joseph had 4 wives, but he loved Rachel. So Lord of hosts respecting that. So he only had 2 children by Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And so for the longest, he thought Joseph was dead. So he wasn't going to let nobody mess with Benjamin because he'd already lost Joseph. So Joseph knew that. So Joseph told him, I'm going to keep Benjamin. Chew on that. I'm going to keep him. Y'all go back to the land of Canaan. Explain that to your daddy. So they went bonkers.
Right.
So Judah stepped up. Every time Judah stepped up. When you go back and look at it. Judah took the blame. And then Judah told Jacob, when he told him that, he said the king of they didn't know when they went back that was Joseph. So they went back. He said the Pharaoh or the king in Egypt required that we bring Benjamin back. And Jacob said, nah. Then Judah stood up and told him, I'll be responsible if you don't come back. And so when you start reading, go ahead.
Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry. That was during the time 7 years of feast and feast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. After the 7 years. Yeah, 7 years. That was during the time of the 7 years. That's what brought them to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, famine.
Right. So Judah stood up. So let me read that because we asked the question. Let me read it in Zechariah, talking about the end time. So he tells us in chapter 12 of Zechariah. We'll see. It ain't nothing new under the sun. Right? Chapter 12. I'm starting at I start at verse 1. It says, this future deliverance of Israel, this ain't happened yet. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, said the Lord, which stretcheth forth the heavens, left the foundation of the earth, formed with the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about when they shall be in the siege, but both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut into pieces, though all people of the earth be gathered against it. And in that day, says the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment and its riders with madness, and I will open my eyes to the house of Judah. And I will smite every horse of the people with blindness, and the governors, just the kings, all the kings in 1st and 2nd Chronicles, 1st and 2nd Kings. The governors of Judah shall say to their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength, and the Lord of hosts their God. In that day will I make the kings of Judah like a heath of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the sheaf, and they shall devour all the people round about, on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. And the Lord shall, there you go, the Lord shall say the tents of Judah first. See that? That the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. So we got to raise up Judah first.
And that's why they keep trying to put Jesus in the house of David.
Right, right. That's why they keep, all they doing, he created, they concocted him from our scriptures, Tanakh, different events that's happening in Tanakh. So yeah, that's how that works. Man, once you see what's happening, how they, what they did. Okay. Anybody got any more questions?
I have more questions, but I'll wait till next week.
Okay, let me read 45 out of Jubilees. Yeah, so for people that don't know, this book of Jubilees is it's the angels telling the story. And here the definition for Jubilees.
45.
Definition for Jubilees is what's that? Somebody say something?
I was trying to follow you in Jubilee. You on 136?
I might have a different book of Jubilees than you. I'm on 201, but it's chapter 45.
I'm on volume 245.
Chapter 45. So it says, on the new moon of the 4th month, in the 2nd year of the third week, on the 45th Jubilee, Israel went into the country of Egypt and to the land of Goshen. Joseph went to meet his father Jacob in the land of Goshen, and he hugged his father's neck and wept. Israel said to Joseph, "Now that I seen you, let me die, and may the Lord God of Israel, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, who has not withheld his mercy and his grace from his servant Jacob, be blessed. It is enough for me to have seen your face while I am yet alive. Yes, this is the true vision which I saw at Bethel. Blessed be the Lord, my God, forever and ever, and blessed be his name." Joseph and his brothers ate bread in the presence of their father and drank wine, and Jacob rejoiced with a very great joy because he saw Joseph eating with his brethren and drinking in the presence of him. And he blessed the Creator of all things, who had preserved him and had preserved for him his 12 sons. Joseph had given his father and his brothers as a gift the right of dwelling in the land of Goshen and in Ramesses and in the entire region around it, which he had ruled over in the presence of the Pharaoh. Okay. Israel and his sons dwelled in the land of Goshen, the best part of the land of Egypt. And Israel was 130 years old when he came into Egypt. Joseph nourished his father and his brothers and also their possession. Nourished his father and his brothers and also their possessions, servants, with bread as much as they needed for the 7 years of famine. The land of Egypt became available for purchase because of the famine, and Joseph acquired all the land of Egypt for the Pharaoh in return for food, and he got possessions of the people and their cattle and everything for Pharaoh. The years of famine were completed, and Joseph gave the people in the land seed and food that they might sow the land in the 8th year, because the river had overflowed all the land of Egypt. For in 7 years the famine it had not overflown and had irrigated only a few places on the banks of the river. But now it overflowed, and Egyptians sowed the land, and it produced much corn that year. This was the first year of the 4th week or 45th Jubilee. Joseph took 1/5 of the corn of the harvest for the king and left 4 parts for them for food and for seed. And Joseph made it a law for Egypt until this day. Israel lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and all the days which he lived was 3 Jubilees, 147 years, and he died in the 4th year of the 5th week of the 45th Jubilee. Israel blessed his sons before he died and told them everything that they would go through in the land of Egypt. He revealed to them that they would live through in the last day. He revealed to them that what they would live through in the last. He slept with his fathers, and he was buried in a double cave in the land of Canaan. near Abraham his father in the grave which he dug for himself in the land of Hebron. And he gave all his books. Here we go. He gave all his books and the books of his fathers to Levi, his son, so that he might preserve them and replicate them for his children unto this day. So that was Jubilee chapter 45. Anybody got any questions? I think I got
That's
enough time. I got enough time to read 46. What? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So those are the books that they got. That those are our books.
Right. They kind of gave us what they want us to have.
Right.
So we got all kind of book. We got all kind of it's all kind of information they had right there in the Vatican. Okay. Anybody else got anything on chapter 45? Okay, I'm gonna read 46. I think it got some serious information right here in 46. It says, "It happened that after the death of Jacob, the children of Israel continued to multiply in the land of Egypt, and they became a great nation, and they were in one accord. They were in one accord of heart, so that their brothers loved brother, and every man helped his brother. They increased abundantly and multiplied greatly. 10 weeks of years, all the days of the life of Joseph." So let's look at that. Right here, they say that Abraham in chapter, I'm gonna beat this up every chance I get. So they say that in Genesis chapter 14 or 15, when 400 years, right? They say that that's how over here in America. But notice in Deuteronomy, it tells you that he's gonna reduce us in the latter days. He said he told them this big buzzing multitude that you see right here, because he had completed the promise that he had gave to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So he's talking to them. He said, this big buzzing multitude right here, because of what you turn your face from me, I'm gonna reduce it. I'm just like I rejoiced over you to multiply you. I'm gonna rejoice over you to decrease you. So look what we're happening to us. We're being reduced. This ain't none of no Abraham prophecy. So look what he say right here. When they left Egypt, it happened that after the death of Jacob, the children of Israel continued to multiply. See, they multiplying. We being reduced over here. This ain't none of no Abraham prophecy. So see that? Said it happened that after the death of Jacob, the children of Israel continued to multiply in the land of Egypt. And they became great in the nation. And they were in one accord. We ain't no one accord. See what I'm saying? It's the opposite. So this ain't no Abraham prophecy. The prophecy of Abraham that Abraham was talking about in Genesis 15. It was Egypt. So anyway, he says, they increased abundantly and multiplied greatly, 10 weeks of years after the days of the life of Joseph. There was neither Satan nor any evil in the days of the life of Joseph after his father, Jacob, had died, because all the Egyptians respected the children of Israel and all the days of the life of Joseph. See that? Says Joseph died being 110 years old. He lived 17 years in the land of Canaan, and 10 years he was a servant, and 3 years he in prison, and 80 years he was under the king, ruling all the land of Egypt. He died, and so did all his brothers and all that generation. But he commanded the children of Israel before he died that they should carry his bones with them when they went out of the land of Egypt. And he made them swear regarding his bones. See that? Here go the bones right here. They got 100,000 sermons on dry bones. Ain't none of them right. He says he made them swear regarding his bones, because he knew that the Egyptians would not bring his bones out of Egypt or bury him in the land of Canaan. Because while dwelling in the land of Assyria, King Machmaran, the king of the Canaan, fought against Egypt in the land and killed the king of Egypt there, and pursued the Egyptians to the gates of Erman. But he was not able to enter, because another king, a new king, had become king of Egypt, and he was stronger than Machmaran, whatever his name. And he returned to the land of Canaan, and the gates of Egypt were closed, so that none came or went from Egypt. Joseph died in the 446th Jubilee, 6th week, in the second year, and they buried him in the land of Egypt, and all his brethren died after him. He said the king of Egypt went to war against the king of Canaan in the 47th Jubilee, in the second week, in the second year, and the children of Israel brought out all the bones of the children of Jacob, except the bones of Joseph, and they buried them in the field in a double cave in the mountains. Then most of them returned to Egypt, but a few of them remained in the mountains of Hebron, and Amram, your father, remained with them. The king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt. He devised an evil plan against the children of Israel to afflict them. He said to the people of Egypt, look, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Let us use wisdom and deal with them before they become too many. Let us make them our slaves before we go to war. And they raise up against us on the sides of our enemies before they leave and fight, that they might not raise up on the sides of our enemies before they leave and fight against us. To do this because of their says to fight against us. Let us do this because their hearts and faces are toward the land of Canaan. He set over them taskmasters to enforce slavery, and they built strong cities for the Pharaoh, Python, Ramesses, and they built all the walls and all the fortifications which had fallen in the cities of Egypt. They enslaved them with harshness, and the more they were evil toward them, the more they increased and multiplied. And the people of Egypt despised the children of Israel. Okay, that's it. So any comments on that? See that information that was in there is not in the it's not in the King James?
Yeah.
Right.
So, but those are two separate captivities, the one in Egypt and then the one we're in now. Do you, because you made a distinction earlier about that's not what's happening to us now, that we're
No.
decreasing. These are
Right.
two separate captivities.
Right. But the thing is, what we've been told to us, and Negroes still dealing with it. They saying that the prophecy in Genesis chapter 15 that Abraham was talking about, they saying that's now.
Mm-hmm.
You familiar with that?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. I think I'm a little confused though, because it's so we've been here over 400 years though, but
Right.
that number has
Right.
no significance. Is that what you're saying?
Right. But like I say, that's Esau at his finest. He the one concocted that. He the one concocted that, and so we Negroes going along with it. But like we just saw, they multiplied in the land of Egypt. The Deuteronomy 28 came after that, and we supposed to be getting reduced. The multitude that he promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he reduced in it. He didn't, it's down to nothing now because of the curses and the intermingling and all that. The Israelite is far in between. So they ain't,
Right.
it's that, you know what I mean? When you look at that, there ain't no prophecy. Abraham was talking about the captivity in Egypt.
Right, I understand that, but there's still a prophecy about us here
Yeah,
in America that we're gonna come out of here.
right. That's in Hosea.
Can we look at
6.
that real quick?
Yeah, Hosea chapter 6.
Hosea chapter 6.
Maybe, let me see. Yeah, maybe Amos. But I think let me see. It's Hosea chapter 6. Yeah, Hosea chapter 6. Got it?
Yes.
So he says, come. Chapter 6, verse 1. Come, let us return unto the Lord, for we have torn. He will heal us. Notice Isaiah 53 is all up in here too. Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he have torn. He will heal us. He have smitten. He will bind us up after 2 days. So how long is 2 days with the Lord?
Who knows? It's forever.
2,000 years. 2,000 years.
2000.
1 year with the Lord is 1,000 years to us.
Mm.
So go back to the garden. He told Adam, the day that you bite off of this, the day that you commit the sin, the day you sin against me, is the day you're gonna die. He never lived 1,000 years. All of them got to 900 or something. Man, one of them got to 1,000 years a day. It's the Lord. So same thing right here. He says, "Come, let us return unto the Lord, for he hath torn, he will heal us. He hath smitten, he will bind us up. After 2 days will he revive us. In the 3rd day, he will raise us up." That's what we're at right now. What's happening now? We're waking up. Isaiah 44, verses 1 through 5. It's happening right now. This ain't got nothing to do with Abraham and the prophecy of Abraham. That was in Egypt. So when they so-called JC got hung on the cross and all that, 2,000 years ago, they go 2,000 years right there. And you add the transatlantic slave trade. Everybody talk about the transatlantic slave trade, but what about the Arab slave trade? That ain't in the
Right.
scripture.
That was before that.
Yeah, that's 1,500 years. 400 and 1,500 was what?
2000.
Right, it is, right, yeah. No, he wasn't no prophecy in that with Abraham, and they can't handle that. But you can't say it ain't been showed to you. It's right there. It ain't talking about no Abraham. Abraham ain't talking about no miracle. And then he said, in the 4th generation, from the time Abraham died, how many generations years now since Abraham died? This ain't the prophecy Abraham talking about. Ain't there something?
Yeah.
Right. So you would think that that's no big deal, but that's major. You know what I mean? Like I said, understanding when you're talking about praying. You might not know his name, but you ain't sitting on the back of no watermelon truck thinking Jesus is the one you need to pray to. You already know what it is who you pray to. You just don't have a name, or because he didn't took that away from us. He said we was gonna discontinue from our heritage. So that's all about waiting on him. But when you praying, who you praying to, you done figured out what's going on with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else got anything before we go? Okay. Like I said before, I had a ball.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we keep on building on this thing. Try to invite some of your Israelite friends to come check us out. So I'm gonna say shalom to everybody. We'll be on Clubhouse tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So I'll see everybody then, or I'll see you on the Sabbath class. Shalom.
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 All right.